Welcome to our channel Crime Loom, the place where true crime stories come alive. In 2005, something unbelievable happened in the city of Fortaleza, Brazil. A group of men pulled off one of the most shocking bank robberies the world has ever seen. They didn't use guns, masks, or high-speed getaways. Instead, they spent months working quietly, right under everyone's feet. While neighbors thought they were running a small business, these men were secretly digging a long underground tunnel leading straight to the vault of the Banco Central. What happened next would leave police, experts, and the entire country stunned. This is the incredible true story of the massive tunnel heist that changed the meaning of the word bold. In 2005, the quiet city of Fortaleza in Brazil became the center of a crime story that people still talk about today. It was the Banco Central Burglary, a heist so bold, so creative, and so carefully planned that investigators had trouble believing it at first. Many called it the heist of the century, not because of violence or chaos, but because of the unbelievable intelligence and patience behind it. Everything about the robbery felt like it came straight from a Hollywood movie, but every part of it was real. Months before the robbery happened, a group of criminals arrived in Fortaleza pretending to be ordinary workers. They acted polite, friendly, and completely normal. They rented a small white house 2 blocks away from the Banco Central branch, which was known for storing large amounts of money used by the government. To neighbors, the house looked boring and simple, just like any other rental home in the area. Outside the house, the group set up a fake business. They put a sign out front that said they sold synthetic grass. People walking by would see bags of material, small tools, and delivery trucks coming and going. Everything looked like the normal business of a landscaping company. The neighbors had no idea that the men inside were planning one of the most complicated crimes in modern history. Behind the walls, these workers were digging a tunnel. They weren't just digging randomly. They had studied maps, soil conditions, and the exact location of the bank vault. Their tunnel would need to reach almost 80 meters, long enough to stretch under several houses across one street, and directly beneath the Banco Central building. It was a huge job, but they were prepared. Inside the rented house, they removed the floor tiles and created a hidden entrance that led down into the digging area. They used shovels, picks, wheelbarrows, electric tools, and measuring equipment. They installed lights in the tunnel connected to the house's power supply. They placed wooden beams across the ceiling and walls to prevent dirt from collapsing. They lined the entire tunnel with plastic sheets to block moisture. They even set up ventilation pipes so they could breathe fresh air while working underground. Their operation looked more like a small engineering project than a criminal plan. The level of detail, patience, and discipline was almost unbelievable. Every day, they carried soil out of the house in bags. To make it look normal, they pretended it was leftover dirt from landscaping work for their synthetic grass company. Nothing looked suspicious. The digging continued for almost 3 months. They worked quietly to avoid drawing attention. Sometimes they worked late at night, other times early in the morning. They took shifts, with different team members working at different hours. Despite the amount of noise digging usually makes, neighbors never reported anything unusual. This was partly because the group placed thick materials on the walls and floors of the house to reduce sound. Every detail had been planned. By the start of August 2005, the tunnel reached the exact location under the bank's vault. The criminals celebrated quietly, knowing they had achieved the hardest part of their plan. Now they needed to break through the vault floor. The vault was supposed to be one of the most secure places in the region. It was surrounded by alarms, cameras, thick walls, and reinforced steel. But the criminals had done their homework. They discovered the vault floor had no alarm sensors. The bank had protected everything except the ground beneath it. On a weekend when the bank was closed and employees were gone, the thieves crawled through their tunnel and reached the vault floor. Using tools that could cut through concrete, they began breaking the thick layer from underneath. This was slow, tough work. The concrete floor was about 1 meter thick and filled with steel bars. But they kept going, crawling up and down the tunnel, carrying tools and working for hours. Finally, they created a hole big enough to climb through. When they looked inside the vault, they saw stacks of cash stored in large boxes. These were used banknotes that were separated from circulation, meaning they were harder to trace. The thieves knew exactly what they were looking at, the perfect target. They formed a chain inside the tunnel, passing the money from one person to another, carefully transporting the cash back to the rented house. Trip after trip, load after load. The boxes kept coming. They worked through the night without rushing. They knew no one would come until Monday morning. By the time they finished, they had removed 160 million Brazilian reais. At the time, this amount was worth around 70 million US dollars. Even today, it remains one of the largest cash robberies in the world. When Monday morning arrived, bank employees began their day like any other. But when someone opened the vault, they froze. The money was missing. The vault floor had a huge hole in it. Dust and debris were everywhere. And when they looked closer, they saw a long tunnel disappearing into the earth. The employees immediately called the police. Investigators were shocked. They had never seen anything like it. The tunnel was long, straight, well-built, and professionally reinforced. One officer said it looked like something an engineer would design, not a criminal. Reporters arrived almost instantly, taking photos and trying to explain the mysterious underground passage. News stations around the world covered the story. People everywhere were amazed that a group of thieves dug a tunnel for months without anyone noticing, while investigators searched for clues. The thieves were already gone. Each member left with a portion of the money. They separated quickly to avoid being caught together. But the huge amount of cash created problems. Arguments began. Some thieves kidnapped others to steal their share. Some members were killed. The police later said the aftermath of the heist was more violent than the robbery itself, which had been completely peaceful. Eventually, police arrested more than 30 suspects. One of the suspected leaders, Antonio Jusevan Alves, known as the German, was captured in another state. But even with these arrests, the stolen money remained mostly missing. Investigators were only able to recover a small amount, less than 4% of the total. Much of the money disappeared into criminal networks or was hidden so well it might never be found. The investigation revealed new details about the operation. Experts from different fields said the tunnel was built with surprising skill. Engineers who inspected it said the criminals understood soil pressure, weight distribution, and underground construction. They used beams in the correct spacing to prevent collapse. They installed lights and ventilation in the proper locations. To many experts, the tunnel appeared almost impossible for a criminal group to build in secret, but the criminals had done it. They had also studied police response times, bank employee routines, and neighborhood patterns. They knew when trucks could enter the area without raising suspicion. They knew which streets were quieter. They even kept track of weather conditions to avoid heavy rain that might destroy their tunnel. After the robbery, Brazil's banks updated their security systems. Many installed alarms on vault floors, something that had been ignored before. Cities added sensors that detect unexpected underground movement. The Banco Central heist changed the way banks around the world thought about security. For the people of Fortaleza, the story became part of daily conversation. Many remembered the moment the news broke and how hard it was to believe. A tunnel under a bank sounded like something from fiction, but it had happened right in their city. Some people visited the area just to look at the house where the tunnel began. Others took photos of the outside, amazed at how ordinary it looked. As more years passed, the story only grew more legendary. Documentaries, interviews, and books were made about the heist. People studied the tunnel like archaeologists studying ancient ruins. Each new detail made the story even more incredible. The robbery remains a reminder of how far planning, patience, and intelligence can go even when used for the wrong purpose. It shows that even highly secure buildings can have hidden weaknesses. And it proves that some crimes happen not through violence, but through strategy and time. To this day, the Banco Central Burglary stands as one of the most impressive and mysterious heists ever carried out. Most of the money has never been found. Many of the criminals disappeared from public view, and the long underground tunnel, once the heart of the entire operation, has been filled and sealed forever, but the story continues to spread. People share it in classrooms, online videos, documentaries, and conversations. It has become a symbol of unbelievable human determination and the surprising things that can happen quietly and noticed, just below the surface of everyday life. The Banco Central Burglary remains one of the most unbelievable heists ever carried out. Even today, most of the stolen money has never been found, and many questions about the operation remain unanswered. The tunnel was sealed, the house was emptied, and the men behind the crime spread into the shadows. But the story continues to amaze people around the world, reminding everyone how far planning and patience can go. It shows that sometimes the most surprising events happen quietly, hidden from plain sight. And as the years pass, the Banco Central heist still stands as a real-life mystery that feels almost too incredible to be true. For watching more amazing videos like this, subscribe our channel Crime Loom.